Hello and welcome to another video from oorail. In this video we're going to show you how to weather this Intercity 125. Today what we're going to need are two paintbrushes, ideally two different colors, and we're using two colored weathering powders. We're using these weathering powders from AIM. These are an American weathering powder, but you should be able to use Humbrol or any of the ones available in the UK, or if you're in America, these AIM ones, you can get them from Hobby Link, they're pretty cheap. This is a grimy black, so you'd be looking for some sort of grimy black color, and this is a medium earth tone. You can also use a light earth tone, or if you wanted to go a little darker, you could go with the dark earth tone. We're going to use the medium earth tone to weather along the bogies here and the underframe, as well as along the base here of the locomotive. We're going to use the grimy black to run some grime down the back here above the roof, grime this up along the roof cab and along the front. Now with this particular model, it's one of a couple of duplicates that we have. It's 43011 and it's also 253 005 there on the front. It's kind of hard to see, the camera doesn't want to autofocus. There you go. So we're going to grime up those numbers just like we did on the other power card, because like I said, we have duplicates. So by griming that up, it saves us the trouble of having to renumber it. Now, to make it easier to get the weathering powders to stick where we want it to stick, we're going to use one of these baby wipes, and luckily I have a whole bunch of these on hand. Wouldn't have had these a few weeks ago, but thanks to Owen being born last week, I do have quite a few of these on hand. So first thing we're going to do is just run this along the bottom of the bogie. So we're just going to get this and rub it like so, rub it like so, rub it like so. And then we're going to take it and just run it down like this. And we're going to kind of grime up the windows a little bit more than we normally would, because I messed that up. And you can see there it's leaving a bit of a residue that the weathering powder will connect to. Now, the Intercity 125, if you look at the pictures, usually has, when it's dirty, it has a grimy black mark down here. So we're going to take this and run it by the Y of this, and then sometimes it also has a second one right here off the exhaust fan or exhaust duct, so we'll run that there. Now with the roof, you usually have these streak marks that go like so, and so we'll just run two streak marks down like that. And in the front, there's usually the windows grimed up, and you also have 2 points here. So I'm going to take this and just do that. I'm going to run it down the windows. And this by no means is an exact art or anything like that. It's just to help the adhesion process a little bit. And likewise, down the center here. And usually right about here somewhere. And then these windows also need to be grimed up a bit, so we'll do that. That's basically it. We're going to do the like so. Now you want to keep this on hand in case you make any mistakes. And the next process is pretty simple. So I'm going to start with the underframe, since that's a little bit easier. I'm going to take something to prop the locomotive up a little bit here. I might just prop it up from behind with the Sharpie. And yeah, here's an old electromagnet you might need. So, okay. So with that propped up, we're going to take the medium earth tones, and you need to be careful with these because these things will go everywhere and get on everything. So you need to be very, very careful you don't put these on something you don't want it to go on. Now I'm going to use the yellow brush for the earth tones. And this is quite a simple process. We just move this over on the camera. We just dip this in here, tap it off, and just brush it on. Now, one thing I did learn from doing the this is my second attempt here at the weathering powders. I am by no means an expert on this, but I did notice when I applied the varnish spray, you have to be careful to spray it over, because these powders will come off if you make a mistake. You can just wash them off with some water or the diaper wipe or baby wipe. So you can be pretty liberal here with the pretty aggressive with the weathering powders. And what you see here with the bits falling on the ground here, you can reuse this to weather it up like so. And with the bogey, again, just basically brush it on like so. I'm going to try to get it an even amount, so if you dump a ton of it on, make sure you dump a ton of it on equally. I've just gone off camera a bit there, I apologize for that. And so we'll weather up here as well. Just want to brush the weathering powders in. Now these are somewhat self-adhesive, and they do come off relatively easy, these particular powders. So you just want to be careful, but as you can see here, you can see the difference already. Is quite cool, and this is very easy to do. You can see I'm just brushing this on, and the trick with the weathering powders is not to be afraid of it, just to go for it. Like I said, this is one of my second attempt weathering, and as you can see from the previous video, my first attempt turned out pretty well, so I was quite pleased with that. Like I said, the only mistake I seem to have made was with the varnish spray afterwards. I should have been aiming maybe a little bit further past the locomotive. So now that we've done the underframe there, we're going to go and just lightly apply this to the seam here, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm applying it just in kind of slightly lighter brush strokes. I'm tapping that off. I'm using the side of the brush. And you don't want to get too much on it. And so, like I said, it's a slow process here. You want to just build it up piece by piece. Brush around. So you can see what we're going for is that kind of grimy look. Like I said in the previous video, a lot of the inner city 125 were usually relatively clean. They weren't as dirty. So unless they've been through some rain or some snow, or just hadn't been in at the end of the day, maybe gone through some rough weather and a number of runs, and they hadn't been washed. Sometimes they were washed off at the at different terminus stations or train stations. You'd see that where the workers could actually reach it, so along the top, maybe along the sides, it was washed off, but they didn't quite get all of it off the roof. And so you can see here I'm grime that up like so. And you can see it's just light, gentle strokes, and you're just building it up. Instead of moving the locomotive, I'm going to move the camera down here so it won't fall over. Just so you can see what I'm doing here with the weathering powder is I'm dipping it in and then just tapping it off gently all around and applying that to the locomotive. Like so. And like I said, you can use the paintbrush here to sweep up some of this and stick it back on the locomotive. Now, like I said, we have duplicates of this, so we want to get rid of this this number a bit. So we're going to go and kind of strategically grime that up a bit more than normal. And just along intercellular here, we're going to kind of use the weathering powders here just to dull this down a little bit. And so there you can just see from that it's making quite a bit of difference. So what we'll do next, since I've shown you this side of it, we'll pan it back down the other end. And I'm going to go dull this up as well with the okay, so like I said, we're just griming this side up, and I'm just using this actually to cover up some of the mistakes that we made with the things. We're making this a little grimier than we probably normally would, but as you can see there, just a bit of powder. And the nice thing with this is this will come off and look a bit normal once it's been varnished. So it doesn't matter if you mess up or anything like that. Okay, so now what I've done is we have the weathering powders and the whole thing on some paper here, and the reason for that is so that we can easily move it around. So the next thing I'm going to do is put some of the grime on with the black grime. So I'm going to basically focus the black grime on two areas here on the side. I'm going to take the blue brush and dip that in like I would normally do, and then I'm just going to run it along here. Like so. And you can see there you have to be kind of careful with it, as it will get pretty much everywhere. And it's a slow process. You can It doesn't really matter which way you start. You can start with the roof. The last one I started with the roof. This one I'm starting with the side here. And what we can do is just run on the side here where you have the dirt's gonna have settled in. One thing you want to make sure you avoid with the weathering powders is just leaving brush strokes in the thing, so you want to try to clean that up as best you can when you're brushing it on. Just try to do it the direction of the dirt would go on the train, so you can see here I'm going from left to right, since this is the dummy power car. You can see there it's some excesses on it. Now if you remember, I said there's right here there would be usually a stripe down here. Remember, it's on the Y of the other side. So I'm going to take a whole bunch of weathering powder here and basically try to get that dirty stripe in there. And as you can see, it's and there's usually another one right about here. Now you might think I'm using way too much, but like I said, when you put the varnish on, it is going to come off and dilute that. See there, the exhaust fans are right there, so we got one by the exhaust fans and one back down here. And we'll take this and just kind of top up by the roof is. And that basically is just going to run this down a little bit because there's any extra powdering. That's basically the side. So what I'm going to do next is show you how to do the roof in the front. So what we'll do is very carefully, not to touch it. We'll take this magnet that we're using out of the way. As you can see there, some of it came off as we lowered it down. And because it's on some paper, or this is actually card, you can easily move it around. It's going to be a little tricky to do this on the camera, so I'm going to be careful not to weather the APT behind it. And just push this back slightly so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to go take the weathering powders again. And it's actually two streaks we want to go for. One is there, one is there. It's usually pretty heavily weathered around there and around here. Remember we said the top here we also needed to weather. Just want to get that painted look away from the Luca. And we're going to brush this back onto the roof. So again, you want to try to re-darken this up some more. If you find that it's not dark enough for your liking, you can always apply another coat later on. Now, the next thing we're going to do is push this back slightly, and we're going to go just 2 spots under the window here, usually right about here. And right about here. That we wanted to get on the weathering. And we're just going to gently kind of brush this off a bit. Now, I'm going to take the yellow brush here and I'm going to switch the camera angle just to show you something. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is to smooth this out just a little bit, like so. And what we're going to do is take the earth tones and we're going to get the underneath here. And it's important to get this right. You want to blend, but you want to move it in the same direction that the locomotive would be in, so. And likewise, remember we have the strategy of trying to hide the number here, and we don't have to hide the whole number, we just need to hide the last few digits there. Also, if you notice, there's a bunch of rivets here. As you get these weathering powders in there, it makes them more pronounced. And then we're going to take the weathering powder and just run it along here to try to mask our overzealous silver painting. Like so. And then finally, we're going to do the windshield, or the windscreen here. And we're actually going to do this quite heavily, and the reason for this is we're going to create the, show you how to create the windshield look. Let's brush this off. Let me see how that helped out considerably with our painting mistake. So you got a kind of the black undertones underneath. Still see the black there of that, but you also have the windows looking pretty grimy. So we're going to take a little bit of the earth tones and just run it down here to dull this. Again, we're not looking to really weather it, we're just looking to dull it out so it doesn't look too bright. Again, the point of this is nobody writing to me and complain. We are trying to make this look heavily weathered to mask out numbers here. And I think we've done a pretty nice job with that. So with the windscreen, what you're going to do is take just a normal cotton bud, get it wet, and run it up and down. First of all, you want to run it up and down the wiper itself, and then you want to try to get another angle out here, and then curve the tube. You have to run it up and down a few times, but you're essentially looking for that arced pattern like that. You can see that works out pretty well. And that gives you the windshield wiper kind of, or windscreen wiper look. And so the next thing we're going to do is take the black brush here and we're just going to add some black on this side because we want to kind of blacken out. We don't want to use too much. We don't want to blend it in with the other. So you want it to look natural but not too bad, and you can see there it actually looks like splatter or whatever from the thing. Now when we spray this, you'll lose about a third of it, so it's all okay. And so what I'm going to do next is run this along the roof some more. And that's basically it. So what I'm going to do is I'll do up the other side the same way as I did this side. I'll just spray it and get it running on the layout. So stay tuned and look for part 3 of this video. And just for comparison, beside it there on the right is the R2296, which is a much newer version of the HST. Now it's not the same as the R2701, which has the centralized power boogie, but it's slightly newer. You can see it's got some of the enhancements that we actually did to this one. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and until next time.